Hello all, welcome to the Lunar Sea Spire Cartoon Fan Podcast. This is episode 339, and today we'll be talking about Collection Quest from Glitch Text. I'm GC13.
And I'm David.
We have come up to one of my favorite two episodes to rewatch from Season 1. Actually, probably from the whole series, to be honest. I love this one and episode 9 so much. This is episode 7, for those of you keeping track.
There's quite a bit going on. This is the most chibi episode by far as doing a lot of what happened, I feel like, in episodes of Avatar, where we just have little either cutaways or sudden changes in the characters' expressions to make them tiny and have the, silly little anime expressions and, big white circle eyes and mad temple, symbols, whatever.
Phil ends on a fantastic face.
Yeah, and everyone has those weird reactions, or they get the weird shark teeth, and it's all great. There's also quite a few more video gamey moments. We get the sort of screen where Five and is it Bergie are I don't know, they're taking a moment to take it all in, and a save screen appears.
Yeah, yes, they have their saves. Yes.
And there's just more, they sometimes cut to maybe a 2D perspective to make the show look like a game, or there's little moments, but this one just had more of those. We had the overhead going on our RPG quest, sort of like an overhead world that kind of reminded me of Zelda 2. Also, though, it turns out that the quest they were on was a mobile game quest, so there's just all sorts of things happening here.
Yeah, actually, it was really kind of neat to have them bring in the mobile gaming, and it was very amusing. The Bergie having to correct them. It's both an app and a game.
I mean,
can we focus here?
Aren't all games applications? But yes, Bergie has a point. I like that. I've never heard someone worried about that distinction, but I can imagine that type of person exists who's I don't play games. I'm not a gamer. These are just apps on my phone.
Man, Nika was on point with having exactly what she needed on her phone at any given time. She had Frog Tongue's picture ready to go. She had Crystal Crush ready to go as soon as she pulled that out of her pocket. She's got the gift.
The gift of immediately. I've never thought about that on cartoons, but hey, look, I can pull my phone out of my pocket and show the exact image I need to be showing you right now. They seem to be able to do it a lot faster than people I know. Oh, let me show you this really important thing. And it takes 2 minutes to find the actual photo on their phone.
Let me show you this awesome thing John Silver posted on Twitter after, oh, God, you had to have been there.
All right, so I want to go a little chronologically. I want to start back at the start of this episode, because I want to start with asking, why does Hinobi sell shoes?
It's fan merch, baby. Got to make that cash. I mean, they sell t-shirts for cartoons. Why not sell shoes for a video game company? It makes perfect sense.
But are these shoes from the games? Because they kind of just look like, designer sports shoes. And the culture around them seemed to be the same as that. Just buying shoes, shoe hype.
I mean, just imagine that if Nintendo was selling Nintendo-branded shoes, and they had Mario on the side. That's what Hinobi's doing.
No, this would be like Nintendo just selling white and blue shoes.
No, they have Nobi on the side.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's weird that it was shoes. I don't know. It could have just been limited games or even just a collectible. Just interesting. The shoe world is interesting to me.
If it had not been shoes, they would not have been able to do the joke that we have another limited edition ready to go after this one.
Well, yeah.
So, I'm glad it was shoes.
And meanwhile, Mitch starts and ends. He kind of has the bookends of this episode, and he's really laying into, clearly as he interacts with people, nobody likes him. So why? Why does he commit to this character that only, I in this scenario, I guess the people that he's trying to put down, he believes is beneath him. And then at the end, though, he doesn't, instead of being completely thrown off, he's just credit where's credit is due. I'm is that in character for Mitch, or should he just be PFFT and, just march out of there. I don't know.
I think it's in character for Mitch because he has standards. He's not going to put them down just for putting them down's sake. He's still not happy about what they did, but if they lived up to a Mitch Williams moment, then he has no retort.
Yeah, fair enough. They did overcome turtles, after all. Why did it have to be turtles?
Why did it have to be turtles? I loved the look for bandanas and martial weapons. A little bit of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reference. Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, perhaps?
Yeah, and a little bit of Indiana Jones.
I do love the look for martial weapons. I know that they mean like the kind of weapons you would use in martial arts, but it still just makes me want to say, all weapons are martial! So I'll nerd out on that one, sure.
I found it interesting that when they were hunting down the first gem, they let that little girl go free. You know, it seems like we are still grappling a little bit with the mind wipe question. I also like that it just turned into an immediate joke with a nice little freeze frame there with the little girl leaping up, thinking that, brutally cracking open the shells of turtles would, result in a gem. Which also, now I'm realizing how brutal, Mario's career of doing the same to real living turtles is. But, oh well.
Well, those aren't just any turtles, David. They're Troopas, so they knew what they were signing up for.
Not in Super Mario Bros. 1. Apparently, all the enemies and the bricks are converted members of the Mushroom Kingdom, so they're all being forced to walk off cliffs against their will, unfortunately. Whoops, indeed.
They couldn't even spring for the good mind control.
You ever notice that the green ones, they're not even walking toward Mario? I mean, these are just turtles walking around. I mean, if I touch an alligator in real life, I might die too, so whose fault is it? Am I supposed to go kill all the alligators on my path? Snapping turtles.
I get points for every alligator I jump on, don't you?
Yeah.
Now, I do want to cycle back to the Nobi kicks. How Five was talking about how he pre-ordered, but he had to go look at that dude at the bus stop. But he didn't close his laptop down or anything, so I'm left to wonder, how did he not come back home and then see his pre-order page still incomplete?
I mean, if it was a Hinobi product, it's not like they're not known to glitch out all the time. So,
ooh,
there you go.
Maybe the Hinobi web servers experienced a glitch. Yes, I'll go with that one.
Yeah, I want them to hunt out all the boring, just actual computer glitches. Like, oh, we have to find another divide by zero. Uh-oh, it's a segmentation fault.
And of course, our favorite, the bit flip.
Oh, yes, unless it causes you to, make a once in a million lifetime world record in Super Mario 64 by glitching up to another ledge, then maybe the bit flip is all worth it in the end. So thinking of monsters, I couldn't help but, they kept saying the word gems, so of course the Steven Universer in me is going to be thinking about gems the whole time they're collecting gems. And one, I think Miko and Yellow Diamond would have really liked each other in the past, because Miko started off strong with saying, I'll get to pulverize all the gems. I was like, okay, all right.
I can imagine Yellow breaking out laughing, just like she laughed at Spinel. 6,000 years isn't long at all. I can imagine her laughing, because shattering is something I like to do.
Shattering them and piecing them back together. Just another day. But also, I was thinking again about how glitches are kind of like corrupted gems. But Steven had the compassion to see corrupted gems as something else underneath. And there's no such similar compassion for the glitches, except for our one bird companion, who did not show up this episode. But
look, I'm just saying, you have compassion for glitches now. Wait until we get to the next episode of Glitch Text and you meet Zoom Kazoom. You'll agree that they're all irredeemable after you meet that guy.
Okay. Yeah.
There will be no more love for glitches left after you meet Zoom Kazoom.
Can't wait. You know where else it's really hard to gain back your reputation? It's with high schoolers. And man, the little story of Nika being constantly watched worse than anyone fearing a microchip from a vaccine. Forget that. Just be a high schooler today. And you're going to be in an alternate surveillance state, apparently, on social meds.
I mean, I love just how otherworldly they made that group of teenagers. Just because this is even though Miko is the right age, she's homeschooled. Can't imagine why. So this is a completely alien world for her.
Yeah, and it just reminded me that I did not have to go through that. Like, I went to a small high school and there just wasn't that same pressure. Like, this just is so scary to see because I know it's surreal. Like, for some reason, children are geared toward just being psychologically as damaging as possible to each other. And it's so weird. And maybe the adult world is like that, but there's something specific to high school culture that is just like somehow the tribes and the self-preservation and the need to attack is so strong.
I think it has something to do with the situation of being forced into high school together. I mean, it's like you know how with wolves, everybody knows. Oh, they form the alpha and the beta. They have a pecking order with the wolves, and it's like, well, that's actually not true. That only happens when you take wolves from many packs and force them into close captivity together, and then you get this savage pack structure emerge based on violence.
So teenagers are savage wolves, and if we just let everybody be homeschooled, it would be fine. Interesting.
Yeah, they're taken out of their natural social environment, and they're all forced, close in together where they would not naturally be, and they have a, culture founded on social violence because physical violence is
that's
very
a good point. Like, even with workplaces, you may organize similar people, but no, in high school, you got your jocks and your goths and your nerds, and they're all forced to be near each other in a way that maybe doesn't otherwise have to happen. But the social meds, that's the permeating, even worse thing that now it doesn't even really matter if you're in high school or not. Of course, I guess if you are homeschooled or outside the circle, maybe nobody cares what Miko's doing because she's just not as much of a part of their lives as...
Egads, the weird girl did something weird. Better stop the presses, Paulette.
Right. Meanwhile, it's like, oh, Nika's actually trying. So, let's watch her career with great interest and find a flaw.
Oh, I was thinking that. I'm glad you finished it instead of making me do it.
Yeah, no one's surprised when Miko is putting a bunch of, freaking...
laying in used chewing gum.
No, I just wanted her to get those goddamn balls out of her mouth when they were in the ball pit. Like, the COVID person in me, I am so... There's probably millions of us, maybe tens of millions of us who are going to be so emotionally scarred coming out of this thing because I was looking at that ball pit and I was like, oh my god, those just can't exist anymore. So gross.
I wasn't even thinking about ball pits. I was just thinking about Miko. You have those in your mouths, but like children in their dirty diapers go in there.
Yeah, also, there weren't, like, children in the ball pit. It looked like other people Miko's age were also hanging out, so this is a very interesting arcade and ball pit thing going on.
They have they must have a lot of homeschooled people in Bailey.
Who enjoy ball pits, maybe, I don't know. I also liked that when we came into the arcade, it started with, Miko inside the whack-a-mole machine, and, I mean, did you also think that she was trying to hack it at first to, somehow cheat at the game? But, of course...
No, I just see it and I'm like, well, she is a licensed technician, so...
Yeah, it turns out that she's just, like, fixing it, which is just wholesome and good, but also, like, I feel like Whack-A-Mole is one of the most wholesome games, despite the fact that it's one of the most directly violent for children, literally hit this thing and enjoy the physical feeling.
You're gonna get whacked.
Hey, you're gonna get whacked. But it's, just one of the simplest forms of gaming, which I think is cute.
I thought their mother was actually quite clever to require the 10-minute selfies, and I loved the Pixar didn't happen, girls.
Okay, I'll give Miko's mom some points, because I definitely was against her in her, initial appearance, but she seems to be doing all right with this mother thing.
Yeah.
Maybe.
She does her best. But I loved how they switched to a wide shot when Miko's there with Five and Bergie back at Hinobi headquarters. They switched from a close-up to a very wide shot, and it's like, why are they going so wide right now? And then Miko's explaining about how they're sisterly bonding routines always fail, and then you have the pictures of them failing off to the side. I'm like,
Yeah,
they were making room. Very clever, very clever.
Very clever. Almost as clever as it's not even copyrighted. Mia Mama. Those are the details I notice. You see, not the composition of shots, just hearing Bergie say Mia Mama, and I go, haha, that's a funny one. Because,
Yeah, they made several Mario references in this one. I guess they couldn't help themselves with the, turtles flying around everywhere.
Yeah. No, I like your note about the actual composition of this show.
I notice fancy stuff every now and again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this show is, again, like, you look at how they're animating or setting up a ton of the shots in the scene, and it reminds me a lot of Zim, where, I don't remember the exact quote, but essentially Jonah Vasquez said to always pick, like, an angle that you're never gonna otherwise see. Like, all these action shots feel so much more dynamic as, the blocks are falling and they're shooting, the gems at them and whatever. Like, it's just not ever presented in a boring way, Like, they're taking interesting comic book-like angles and then also mixing it up with, like, I like you're in the middle of the action and then they just kind of zoom out and do the 2D plane again, and you just see, like, and now the cat thing, whatever, instead of being angry, is happy. Yeah, the walrus. It had whiskers. Was spitting out, blocks, but it's smiling.
Yeah, and then you have 3 of them panicking, and 5's just hugging the gem with hearts in his eyes. I wonder, is it really smiling in Crystal Crush? Why is he always so angry as a glitch then? I wonder.
I don't know. Yeah, I like that Miko called out that 5 was going full Gollum.
See, that confuses me, because she said he's Gollum, and then if you look in the subtitles, if you turn subtitles on, they spell it just like Gollum from Lord of the Ring.
Right.
But the old man from the bus stop looks like the wizard from Ring of the Lord. So I am forced to assume that the Lord of the Ring trilogy does exist in the world of glitch text, but they also made a sequel called Ring of the Lord, which has a new non-Gandalf wizard in it. That's the only explanation I can come to.
That's the only explanation. Sure. Or, well, yeah, that's actually confusing. It feels like maybe not the same 2 writers wrote the same thing there, and it just was coincidental that they happened to reference it, or maybe not. That is weird they didn't change up the name. But with Gollum, what are you going to change it to? That sounds like a, alternate universe version. Gomul? Gomlum?
Yeah, Gommel.
I don't, but would you know?
I don't know, I guess.
You wouldn't, like, listening to that, know what they're referencing.
They could have at least spelled it differently in the subtitles. Like, with an E instead of a U or something.
Maybe.
Like, that's why I even checked the spelling in the subtitles, but no, they spelled it the same.
So what do you think about Nika not being completely shocked that digital artifacts can exist in the world and be real manifest?
I think she was following Miko's lead. Miko's like, this is normal. And she's like, oh, well, I mean, I guess Miko would know. I guess. Miko seems pretty confident.
Miko says, it's scientific. Okay, good to know. Glad it's not a scientific hallucination or magic.
Here I was thinking there was magic. Now, I'm gonna bust out the manual that they tweeted out again. Now, according to the manual, page 33, if you're reading along at home, Plixels are tiny robots that both glitches and glitch tech are made of. So Plixels are physical objects, like nanobots. I think they're smaller than nanobots. I never could get somebody to tell me how big a Mesobot is, but they're like they're like in the realm of nanobots. So they're physical things, and yet they're explaining this as, they don't have their graphics loaded. So it's like, it really makes it sound like the whole, Plixels are robots thing is just what the company tells everybody, but there's actually more shenanigans going along.
I mean, there's a lot to dig in there. Like,
that's my theory.
Well, I mean, okay, but the bots are coordinating. They coordinate, the physical shape, but they're coordinating the graphics too, right? So maybe the graphics aren't immediately on, but also the whole scene of them being invisible and then they just kind of become visible inexplicably, and then it doesn't really matter. Like, kind of weird. It's kind of weird that they even bothered making them invisible, and then suddenly, Nika can see them, but not for any reason. They just kind of turn on.
Once they turn on.
Yeah, but they just turn on without any, reason. Like, they step on them, and then they turn on. Whatever.
Well, it was because 5 shot one.
Yeah, it's just weird that they bothered setting it up, but I don't know. I guess it acts as a literal moment of it going from invisible to visible to Nika. So, sure.
I will say this. I loved when Bergie went face first into one of the blocks while he was saying, "Oh, we'll know it when we see it." That's what you get for trying to sound cool, Bergie. Like, you are not allowed to sound cool. Stick with the quest chant.
Bergie is really great character in Glitch Techs. And I guess he's introduced
Bergie's a
in this
great
episode.
guy. I love him, but he wasn't introduced.
Well,
we get a closer look at him.
This is his first feature episode. I just like that he's very clearly nerdier than anyone else on the show or on the team so far, but just it's not a joke for the most part. Like, him being a little goofy plays in, but no one attacks him. You know what I mean? It's not like the kid with the boil in Fairly Odd Parents or something. You know what I mean? Where it's just oh, that's the kid with the boil. He sucks. Or the friggin', what's the kid's name? Jimmy Neutron? The slap, pat, pat, pat. We have characters like that are just humiliated, and they have it's just awful. But, what if they were actually humans, I don't know.
Yeah, they're comparatively much nicer to Bergie. Like, Bergie does get some moments where he looks pretty dumb. Like, he gets a really funny one in the Karate Trainer episode, episode 9, one of my other favorites.
Yeah. It just comes off a little more as, naive or optimistic, though, instead of, I don't know, a complete idiot. It's not like a Patrick Star butt of the joke type thing. Well, okay, maybe I haven't seen the episodes yet.
He didn't blow in from Stupid Town. That's true, but I'm not sure he's playing with the full deck, but that's okay. I love him anyway.
Oh, Mia mama.
But yeah.
Oh god, what if that wasn't a Glitch Tech's version of Mamma Mia? That's just what Bergie says because it's Bergie. Oh, he thinks that's the phrase.
I could imagine.
Oh, man.
Now, I did write down one more question, and it pertains to when they first meet the walrus up on the mural. When it's looming over 5, there's a shadow coming out from it, but it's right up against a wall, so where is the shadow coming from? Like, the sun's not that high in the sky, is it?
Well, but glitches are self-illuminated, right?
There we go. Yeah, must be.
Yeah.
It's from the glitch's own backlight. I'll take it.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, they even have a physicalness, so they could both glow and cast shadows. Sure.
I should tweet at one of the show creators, and they can tell me whether or not they measured what angle in the sky the sun would be at that time of day. Because they go pretty nerdy sometimes. But I don't know. I don't think that they were that early in the day for it to be that high in the sky. I really don't.
I don't know.
We're gonna have to use the backlight explanation, I think.
I'm more focused on there's no way that those turtles didn't die in this episode. Sabrina killed the turtles.
I don't know. Well, for one, she would have only stepped on the one. But two, I take comfort in the fact that if you look, it looks like her shadow is off to the side, so it looks like she's just going to land off to the left of the turtles. I think they did that on purpose to give us hope for those poor turtles.
Maybe. Her mom was freaking out and great face. But if she had, leaped forward or something, then maybe I'd believe that the conclusion, had the freeze frame continued, would have been her mom, catching her midair and tackling her away from the sweet pet shop turtles. But,
I mean, you already made one Star Wars reference. Why couldn't she use the Force and lift her with her mind?
Right. I mean, we already have what you've just described to me, that the show does have essentially midichlorians, so why not?
I mean, mean, they're a little different than midichlorians.
Little
but yeah,
microscopic beings. I mean, yeah, sure, they don't inhabit people's bodies, except they do sometimes. Yeah. So
maybe Sabrina's mom works for Hinobi tech support. So yeah, I don't think those turtles are necessarily dead, or at least that one turtle.
That's good.
Anyway, guys, on that pleasant thought, I'm going to say that's it for us on Collection Quest. Join us next week. Until then, I'm GC13.
And I'm David, and we are still on a collection quest to get 2 more reviews to hit 100 on Apple Podcasts, so leave us a review.
Later, everybody. Our opening and closing music is by Mark Soto. For more cartoon-related content, please visit lunarceasefire.com.